What a headshot! What a head!
How's it guys, this is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video, I'll be taking you guys through my transfer plan for the upcoming double game week 37. So the penultimate game week of the entire FPL season and the last double game week unfortunately of the current season. Double game week 37 proves to be quite an interesting one. But before we get into all that good stuff, going to take a look at the current game week, double game week 36, still have a few games coming up of the current game week. But I'll give you guys the current rank situation and show you guys how I'm currently doing. But don't worry, as with every transfer plan after that, going to take a look forward, going to look to the upcoming game week, double game week 37, going to see what moves you could potentially make that might be differential. So if that sounds like something that you guys might be interested in, sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. So going over quickly the double game week 36, we're currently going to be sitting with 2 games left of the upcoming double game week. That's the Liverpool game that happened yesterday as you guys are watching this video, as well as the Newcastle vs Brighton game. Now I wanted to create this video on Tuesday for you guys, and that's why I'm recording this before the Liverpool game, as unfortunately due to some work constraints, I'm having to do that. But don't worry, in the team selection coming up late in the week, I'll give you guys an update on how the Liverpool game went, as well as the second game for Brighton and also Newcastle. But in terms of the current overall rank situation, you guys can see that I'm currently on 31 points. Don't worry though, the bench will boost that slightly when my subs do come off, and that's going to give us a game week rank of 7.1 million before the subs. Now in terms of the overall rank, I've used the rank after the subs because I've got a lot of points coming off the bench, spoiler alert there, but we're still going to be on a red arrow of about 1k places, 204k. So quite unhappy with that, but hopefully the second game for Brighton and Newcastle boosts us up, as we do have 6 players remaining. In terms of our transfer plan, 1 free transfer after using 2 free transfers that I'll show you guys what I did, and a very low amount of money of 0.1 million left in the bank. But you guys can pause this video right now, let me know how your game week is currently going. Are you in a green arrow? Are you currently like myself with a lot of points on the bench with a red arrow? That'll hopefully get better as those subs come on. I've seen some massive scores, especially if you guys did go for the Callum Wilson captain, and I'm super happy if you guys did. But let's go over my team, take a step back, let's look at the bench first, and as mentioned, I've got a lot of points on the bench, but luckily these players will actually come off. So let's talk about the first option, Edison. I'm going to bring in Kepa right now. You guys see that Kepa was actually benched. Mendy started the fixture for Chelsea, ended up also conceding, which might have been his own mistake. So I was super happy that Kepa stayed on the bench, especially when Edison got that clean sheet. Not only was it the clean sheet, but kind of 6 points ceiling Edison also got 2 bonus points. Don't you know what happened there? Because when I last checked, he was nowhere near the bonus points and suddenly jumped up to 2 bonus points at the end of the fixture. So every day of the week, I'll take Edison's benching, and as I mentioned on Twitter, I kind of reverse jinxed this. I benched him so that he got a clean sheet, and luckily kept him out in the game. So I know a little bit of jam there, but I guess it is that time of the FPL season where some of these luck decisions go away. Talking about kind of luck decisions, I put a Stupinan first on my bench. This is obviously with the mind that Rashford might miss out on the fixture, as we had that big kind of doubt over his fitness. So what does a Stupinan go and do in the harder game out of the 2, I would say, against Arsenal? Keeps a clean sheet, gets an assist, and also a goal right at the end of the fixture for a massive 17-pointer. So just imagine if Rashford actually did play kind of 1 minute, came off the bench for a kind of a 1-point appearance, and we had 17 points left on our bench. Luckily though, that wasn't the case, and a Stupinan will be coming off as soon as the game week does conclude, and he still has a game against Newcastle coming up. Now, do I have hope for that Newcastle game? Probably not, because he is facing our captain Isaac, and after Isaac scores a double hattie, a Stupinan might be on negative points. But let's just see what happens on Thursday when these 2 teams do face off, but a Stupinan looks to be in good form right now. Then we have Luke Shaw. I mentioned that United basically had a guaranteed clean sheet against Wolves. That's exactly what happened. Wolves had hardly any attacking threat, and the more important factor is that Luke Shaw was playing at left back. So with Varane coming back from injury, Luke Shaw shifted out to that fullback position, and did have a massive chance that Anthony just missed. So 8 points was probably a little bit modest for his performance, so he definitely will be back in my squad come game week 37's double. Then the final player, Greenwood, actually started the game for Leeds, but was taken off pretty early, that's why he only got 1 point. But as mentioned, Edison and Stupinan will be coming off our bench, so a massive 25 points plus whatever he gets against Newcastle will be entering our team. Let's go over the rest of our back line. Talking about a Stupinan, unfortunately the other doublers, Newcastle, I've got Botman and Trippier with both 1 point, and then the Brighton game coming up. Now my prediction for that Brighton vs Newcastle game is it's either going to be super boring or it's going to have a ton of goals in it, and that's not too great when half of my kind of Newcastle and Brighton assets are defenders. But who kind of knows, maybe they can get some attacking returns, especially Trippier, as he's been super disappointing. Then we do have Trent coming up tonight against Leicester. Who kind of knows how that game's going to go? Both sides need to win in this fixture. I do expect Leicester to score, but Trent could get an attacking return, so let's just hold thumbs. Now moving into our midfield department, and let's start off with our first double up, the United double up, Bruno Fernandes and also Rashford. Now Rashford missed out on that game entirely, wasn't on the bench, wasn't in the squad, as he was reported as a major doubt in the 10 Hag press conference. So let's see what happens with Rashford. I really do hope that he's back for double game week 37, because the first game is against Bournemouth. But going on to Bruno, he luckily did get an assist towards the end of the game, had a relatively strong game. You guys know how it goes. Bruno has amazing stats, great attacking stats, but unfortunately they're not resulting in FPL points. Luckily though, this week he did get an assist, so those 6 points are basically all differential. Then our two Brighton assets, I took out Solly March, brought in McAllister before the game week 36 deadline, but both my options returned 3 points. Now Matoma I thought had a pretty good game, but unfortunately like usual, his finishing product isn't that great, whereas McAllister, starting at that 10 slot, had some good moves, but unfortunately no attacking returns. Now I was quite disappointed though that out of the 3 goals that Brighton scored, Matoma and McAllister involved in none of them, as I did consider them to be more talisman. Now they do have Newcastle coming up, but that should be a tough game, but with how Newcastle are defending at the current moment, I think Brighton definitely score. Then our final midfielder, Mo Salah. I should actually note that Trent and Salah both will be starting against Leicester. The news actually dropped, or the team leaked, a couple of hours before the kickoff, so I'm able to confirm that both these options do start. So super confident in Salah's ability. I think the Leicester can't really defend, so if they're going to go for this game, going to go for the win, they should leave some gaps behind. So let's see what the Egyptian does, but I'm pretty confident of at least one attacking return here. So now moving into the forward department, and we've got the 2 options that are over 100% effective ownership. The first player is going to be Erling Haaland as expected. Everyone owns him, some people captain him, but at least he only got 7 points. Now I say 7 points, but if my captain doesn't outperform 7 points, I'll be pretty sad, but Erling Haaland continues on the scoring way of things. Another important factor to note is that Erling Haaland did actually play the majority of minutes, so just keep that in mind when you do consider his rotation in the upcoming games. Now the final option of my captain for the upcoming game week is going to be Isaac. He got 5 points in the first game, doubled to 10 as my captain, but I won't lie to you guys, the Callum Wilson-Kamsi hurt quite a bit. If you guys did watch the deadline stream, you'll know that we're waiting for some early team news. If we got early team news that Wilson was going to start the Leeds game, I was going to bring him in and captain him. You guys know what happened next. He scores 2 penalties. Might be a little bit lucky to get those 2 penalties, especially the second one, as he was subbed directly after that. So let's just say that penalty came about 2 minutes later. Maybe Isaac would have been on penalties, scored that second one, but I guess that's FPL at the end of the day. So let's see what happens against Brighton. Maybe Isaac does start, maybe Isaac gets benched. Let's see what kind of Eddie Howe goes for in that forward department, but I'm holding thumbs for some returns from the Swede. So you guys can see overall the 31 points plus the 25 coming off the bench should hopefully get us a green arrow, and let's hope the double gaming players and Liverpool assets do good. But you guys can let me know how you guys did in double game week 36. Was it a dub? Was it an L? Do we have to have Fs in chat? Stay tuned to my team selection to know where my overall rank is. But before we go into the actual transfer plan, I want to give you guys some context on my current starting 11 with no transfers made. Always like to give you guys the background picture so that you understand where my transfer plan lies. So let's start off on our bench. This week is quite a contentious week. There are some benching dilemmas, but I do think I've got my bench correct. Now the first option, no debate there, Kepa. Will Mendy start again? Will Kepa start again? I do believe Mendy is probably the favourite for Frank Lampard, but even if Kepa did start, he has Man City away and United away. So the United derby there in both of those fixtures, because they are away games, I'm tempted to kind of bench him. We then have the double up in the Newcastle defence, Trippier and Botman. Is this the week that finally Trippier gets us some returns? I don't really know. I think the Leicester should probably score in this fixture, and Trippier has been super disappointing. So for the time being, I'm benching Trippier, but he might come onto my squad, just depending on how my starting 11 looks. Then finally, Greenwood, not going to start him, third on my bench, even though he did start for Leeds this weekend. Now moving into my starting 11, I'm going to start Edison at the current moment, has Chelsea at home in the first game and Brighton away in the second game. Now the most important thing about Man City and their rotation this week is the fact that Arsenal play first, so if Arsenal do win their game against Nottingham Forest as expected, if Man City beat Chelsea, the title is theirs. So what most people are saying is against Brighton away, they might potentially rotate, but let's see what happens in that Brighton game. But unfortunately, we can't really prepare for it, as we do have the Chelsea game first. But for the time being, I'd definitely start Edison over Kepa, but just be prepared that Edison might be benched in the second game. Then in terms of our back three, you've got a Stupinan against Southampton at home, Man City at home, so that Man City game might be even easier if there is some rotation after they win the title. But the first game against Southampton is definitely the one that you guys will target, and Stupinan's form looks pretty strong from an attacking point of view. We then have Luke Shaw, Bournemouth away, Chelsea at home, good fixtures on paper here, especially that Bournemouth one, even though they are quite attacking. But no complaints for Luke Shaw at the left back slot, he's more attacking than he is at centre back, so no excuses to bench him. Then the final option that might be some rotation for Trippier is going to be Trent against Aston Villa at home. Now because this game is at Anfield, I'm pretty confident in Trent's new position, gets forward loads, great creativity, so for me it's almost a no-brainer. But let's see how the game tonight goes against Leicester, because Trippier could be in our starting 11 come tomorrow. Then our midfield department, you guys know how it goes, the double ups. Gonna first go over the United double up of Bruno and Rashford. Really hope that Rashford might be back fit, but don't exactly know, as he might actually be quite injured. So let's see what maybe Ten Hag says in the press conference, or if we do get reports earlier on, but I'm holding thumbs. In terms of Bruno though, he's guaranteed to probably play both games, super confident. United have to win to get top 4, and those 2 games are pretty respectable. Then our 2 Brighton assets, Matoma and McAllister. Yes, there might be some rotation, but those fixtures on paper look pretty strong, especially as mentioned with the Stupinan, there might be some Man City rotation. So for now, I'm going to keep them. Let's see how they play against Newcastle on Thursday, as their schedule's pretty stacked. Then our final midfielder, Mo Salah against Aston Villa at home. Pretty respectable game, to be honest. Really do like that fixture, especially because it is at Anfield. Now, Aston Villa have been playing better at the current moment, but recently they've dipped off a bit, and Liverpool have to win if they are to get top 4. But now moving to our forward department, and things get a little bit spicy with Erling Haaland, just because of the mentioned kind of Edison and Man City rotation. I do expect him to play probably both games, as he looks to absolutely smash this goal scoring record. So currently I've got the armband on the Norwegian, but this amount will change after the Champions League game against Real Madrid. But if you guys do want to go differential, I know it's quite late into the season, Kamsi might be your only chance of moving up the ranks. This might be a nice week to go actually for someone else. But for the time being, I'm going for Erling Haaland. As I mentioned, I do expect him to play both games, even if Man City's schedule is pretty stacked. Then our final forward to go over is going to be Isaac against Leicester at home. Now this kind of situation might depend on where Leicester are in the relegation battle, but Newcastle also have to win to secure top 4. But if you do see some rotation for Newcastle against Brighton on Thursday, Isaac might be benched for this one, but I don't really expect him to. But if you do get news about a potential benching, Trippier can always come off the bench, as that fixture might be adequate from a defensive point of view in my opinion. But looking at the starting 11, you guys might ask, where could I actually use a transfer? That's kind of the decision I'm actually looking to make. Don't think we actually necessarily have to make a transfer, but we could use one to be a little more differential. Let me know what transfers you guys are planning to do for the upcoming Game Week 37, and are you guys targeting a double Game Week player or going for a single Game Week differential? But now going on to the actual transfer plan for the upcoming double Game Week 37, and the first transfer I'm going to talk about are, let's just say that everyone's fit in my squad. Rashford has recovered from his injury, obviously won't transfer him out then, has Bournemouth away in the first game. That's a plump fixture for United, and as mentioned, they have to win to secure top 4. So if we were to go a little bit differential, what are the moves that we could potentially make? Well, the first move, we'll be looking to bring a Man City option in, but as mentioned, this might be a little bit kind of risky, as they could win the title against Chelsea. So if we were to look for a Man City defender, the transfer out would probably be Trippier, as I don't really like his last game against Chelsea away. Now I know that Chelsea aren't great at the current moment, but Newcastle's defense isn't as well. So between Trent and Trippier, I prefer to take Trippier out. So replacement that I can afford is going to be John Stones. Would obviously prefer Ruben Diaz, but he's too expensive for me. So John Stones will be the second replacement. Now Man City had the double game week against Chelsea, Brighton, and the final game week against Brentford, but that is an away game. So I consider this to be kind of a luxury transfer. If I do go for someone like a John Stones, I'll have to bench a Trent. I don't even know if that's worth it. But this might be a move that I make from a differential point of view, as the Man City defense, as you guys will know, the stats are so good for them, they should hopefully keep some clean sheets in the next 3. But there's another transfer to complete the Man City triple up that is very differential and might be kind of not really advised. You guys might absolutely despise this move, but it's Mo Salah out for Kevin De Bruyne. So this move I can actually afford because Mo Salah is simply so expensive, but will Kevin De Bruyne with a double game week outperform Mo Salah against Aston Villa at home? Now the only reason that I might do this move is if I want to move up the ranks, because you can't even guarantee that De Bruyne will start both games after a Champions League game against Real Madrid that he definitely will start. But this move is open for interpretation. If I want to go for it, want to go differential, let's just say that I want to captain Erling Haaland and I think that KDB starts both games, I could definitely go for this move. Now the last move I want to talk about is potentially for Rashford out now. Unfortunately, I can't afford Anthony as a straight swap. He'd probably be my direct replacement, even though he's not the best FPL option. I would now have owned him a couple of game weeks this season, but I don't even have enough funds for that. So a move that I could potentially do is downgrading Kepa with a -4 to just a cheap playing goalkeeper that will give me enough funds to upgrade to Anthony if I do expect him to play both games. Now this will depend on the Rashford news, and that's why I wanted to detail this kind of last in my transfer plan, because if he is going to be fit, I'll definitely keep him for the upcoming game week 37. Now yes, there are some other replacements I could go for. He costs currently 7.0 million. That's the price I could buy him at. So I could kind of downgrade him to an Eze who has 2 promoted sides in the next 2 game weeks. That might be a little bit late though, because Eze just came off a very hot streak in game week 36, but I still think he's an absolute baller. But I would try and prioritize United assets. I could go for something like an Eriksen, but I don't really trust that he'll start both games, and that's why I did like Anthony at his price point. Now unfortunately, I can't really afford any of the Man City assets in terms of midfielders. I can't afford a Grealish or Morris, that sort of thing. So I could also qualify the Kepa downgrade, but that's for a -4, which might not be worth it. Added to that Man City rotation might be a little bit rough, but let's say that Mahrez doesn't start in the Champions League this midweek, he definitely could start the next Prem games, which is obviously double game week 37. But as mentioned, going for one of the Man City assets or Anthony will be for a -4, which I really like at this stage of the season. But you guys let me in the comments down below, what transfer plan do you guys like? There's hopefully the Rashford news coming up shortly that we hopefully will get, that'll give us some more insight into our transfer plan. But at the time being, I'm actually looking at not using a transfer, rolling the transfers, going to the last game week of the season with 2 free transfers to handle any rotation news. But as mentioned, let me know in the comments down below what you guys are doing for the upcoming game week 37 and what moves do you guys like from me. But this is basically a wrap for the video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like if you didn't and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. I'll be seeing you guys for the team selection coming up later in the week. Otherwise, good luck for the remainder of double game week 36. But I'm signing off to Dayvy FPL and I'm out. Cheers, bye.